Regular meeting number 3 will now come to order. Would you please stand for the playing of the national anthem? Monsignor Cody is here to lead us in prayer. Monsignor Cody.
Let us pray. Good and gracious God, we thank you for the break in the weather that we've been experiencing and the hope it brings for spring and the new life that it symbolizes. Tonight, the members of Columbus City Council seek your presence and your spirit as they conduct the business of our city. Many issues confront them and all of us: the ongoing need for immigration reform and the needs of immigrants, and the security of the dreamers, as well as the serious divisions that exist in our great nation among its citizens. Give us the grace to come together for the sake of the common good, the care of the vulnerable, and for the good of our nation. May God bless us. May God bless this council and the citizens of our city of Columbus. Amen.
Page, Stinziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Any person who takes any action to obstruct or interfere with the conduct of tonight's meeting may be charged with disturbing a lawful meeting pursuant to Columbus City Code 2317.12. Any person who enters those areas of city council chambers reserved for city officials or invited guests may be charged with criminal trespassing pursuant to Columbus City Code 2311.21. Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Remy, Page, Stinziano, Tyson, President Harden.
This week's communications received by the city clerk's office are listed on the agenda and will be published in the city bulletin. Are there any other communications to be read into the record?
Not this time.
I have ordinance 0308-2018 and rules and reference related to standing committees of council that I would like to take out of this order this evening. Tonight in Rules and Reference Committee, we have ordinance 0308-2018 to amend Chapter 111 of the Columbus City Codes as it relates to standing committees of council and to declare an emergency. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage. Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Remy, Page, Stinziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you, Clerk. Will you now read the new committees and assignments into the record, please?
Finance Committee, Councilmember Elizabeth C. Brown, Chairperson, Committee Members Page, Remy, and President Harden. Recreation and Parks Committee, Councilmember Elizabeth C. Brown, Chairperson, Committee Members Page, Mr. Brown, and President Harden. Education Committee, Councilmember Elizabeth C. Brown, Chairperson, Committee Members Page, Stinziano, and President Harden. Public Safety Committee, Councilmember Mitchell J. Brown, Chairperson, Committee Members Tyson, Page, President Harden. Veterans Affairs Committee, Councilmember Mitchell J. Brown, Chairperson, Committee Members Stinziano, Tyson, President Harden. Economic Development and Small Business Committee, Councilmember Jaiza Page, Chairperson, Committee Members Elizabeth Brown, Mr. Stinziano, President Harden. Housing Committee, Councilmember Jaiza Page, Chairperson. Committee members Tyson, Remy, and President Harden. Judiciary and Court Administration Committee, Councilmember Jaiza Page, Chairperson. Committee members Tyson, Stinziano, and President Harden. Public Service and Transportation Committee, Councilmember Emmanuel Remy, Chairperson. Committee members Mitchell Brown, Elizabeth Brown, President Harden. Environment Committee, Councilmember Emmanuel Remy, Chairperson. Committee members Stinziano, Elizabeth Brown, President Harden. Administration Committee, Councilmember Emmanuel Remy, Chairperson. Committee members Elizabeth Brown, Tyson, President Harden. Neighborhoods Committee, Councilmember Stinziano, Chairperson. Committee members Remy, Tyson, President Harden. Technology Committee, Councilmember Michael Stinziano, Chairperson. Committee members Mitchell Brown, Page, and President Harden. Public Utilities Committee, Councilmember Michael Stinziano, Chairperson. Committee members Page, Mitchell Brown, President Harden. Zoning Committee, Councilmember Priscilla R. Tyson, Chairperson. All members serve on that committee. Health and Human Services Committee, Councilmember Priscilla R. Tyson, Chairperson. Committee members Remy, Elizabeth Brown, President Harden. Workforce Development Committee, Councilmember Priscilla R. Tyson, Chairperson. Committee members Stinziano, Mitchell Brown, President Harden. Rules and Reference Committee, Council President Shannon Harden, Chairperson. Committee members Elizabeth Brown, Ms. Page, and President Pro Tem Stinziano.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any resolutions by member of council this evening?
Yes. Thank you,
Councilmember Brown.
President Harden. Tonight, I'd like to introduce Resolution 0010X-2018, and please invite forward Joel Hunt of the Ohio Department of Transportation and Sherry Palmer of Keep Columbus Beautiful, to recognize and encourage participation in the Central Ohio Litter Summit taking place on February 6, 2018. The 2018 Central Ohio Litter Summit will take place in 2 weeks. The summit will identify challenges and available resources to help develop a regional litter strategy focused on prevention and enforcement, with the ultimate goal of keeping Central Ohio clean and sustainable through the reduction of litter. The summit will complement the End Littering in Columbus strategic plan, which Sherry Palmer and the Keep Columbus Beautiful team have spent many hours creating and will spend many more hours implementing. This work is important because it helps mitigate the negative impacts of litter, which can create environmental, health, and safety risks that affect Columbus residents and visitors. And ultimately, it simply boils down to the fact that streets and alleys with litter create a negative impression on our neighborhoods. The summit will feature presentations by national experts and other professionals in the field of sustainability. It is sponsored by a collaboration of regional partners, including SWACO, the Ohio Department of Transportation, Keep Ohio Beautiful, Keep Columbus Beautiful, and the Franklin County Environmental Court. I'm happy to continue supporting this work in Columbus and the work of these partners in our region. Preventing litter in our neighborhoods really does make a substantial positive impact that improves the quality of life for residents. I want to thank both of you for being here tonight, Sherry and Joel, Ms. Palmer and Mr. Hunt, for your ongoing work from the original meeting convened to sort of talk about the possibility of putting this together, to the hard work that you've put in since to make it a reality. We will all see the benefits here in the city of Columbus. So before I turn it over to you, I'd like to move for adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Brown, Remy, Page, Stinziano, Tyson, President Harden.
The microphone is yours.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. Good afternoon. On behalf of the Ohio Department of Transportation Director Jerry Ray, I'd like to thank you for recognizing and encouraging participation in the Central Ohio Litter Summit through this very important resolution. Litter is a persistent and preventable problem, and one that knows no boundaries. It affects our neighborhoods, our communities, our local roads, and our highway corridors. Since 2008, the Ohio Department of Transportation has collected nearly 4 million bags of trash around the state, costing taxpayers $38 million. Unfortunately, litter is back as soon as we pick it up. ODOT recognizes Central Ohio communities, law enforcement, businesses, and leaders are frustrated with Ohio's litter problem, and we want to work together with our partners to find a solution. The Central Ohio Litter Summit, which will be held at ODOT on Tuesday, February 6, 2018, is a first big step toward ending litter in Columbus. The summit will bring together litter stakeholders from all over Central Ohio to identify existing litter pickup and prevention programs, available resources, litter hotspots, and as you said, Councilmember Brown, learn about current national litter research, hear case studies, et cetera. ODOT is grateful for the hard work of Councilmember Elizabeth Brown and her staff and the entire Columbus City Council for their support in helping ODOT, along with its litter partners, end littering in Columbus.
Thank you. Councilmember Brown, President Hardin, and all council members, and welcome to our newest member. It's great to have you on board. I look around and there's not one face that has not been involved hands-on, literally, in the problem of litter. We are challenged. We have seen this problem grow in our community, and we have to take a different approach. Is there a solution? Only if we can all work together on this cause. And so we have the End Littering in Columbus strategic plan, which is geared toward looking at every single stakeholder that is involved in the problem of litter. And most of all, looking at how we tackle abatement in our neighborhoods. We will be asking neighborhood leaders to be trained to do a litter index, and that will give them a baseline to actually a visual assessment of their neighborhood to see what litter problems exist and at the high level of indexing that they will determine. They will come up with a plan, and hopefully they will engage in monthly cleanups, a standardization of cleanup abatement work that we will put into play so that we have a calendar and that we can also invite all of our youth from our schools to be a part of. I look forward to working with each of you on this plan. It's important, and we kick off 10 years of kicking butt on our highway ramps. And our partner, ODOT, we're starting the season off March 24th. So I issue a challenge. Councilmember Cinziano, I know you've always been there. Let's hand Councilmember Hardin and Councilmember Brown, and I've seen former City Councilmember Zach Klein there as well, now our city attorney. Bring a team. Come on out. Help us kick butt. Thank you all for your hard work.
For my next resolution, I'd like to invite Ms. Jean Melvin and Ms. Maureen Reedy, please, to the microphone. I have Resolution 0012X-2018 to recognize January 21st through January 27th, 2018 as Public Education Week in Columbus. Supporting universal access to a high-quality public education is one of the most effective ways for governments to help ensure equal opportunities and equal access to prosperity. That is why I'm so pleased to welcome you here this evening to help mark this week as Public Education Week in Columbus. It's difficult to overstate the importance of public education, from basic skills such as reading, writing, and math, to sparking curiosity and a lifelong pursuit of knowledge and innovation, to helping prepare students for successful careers and creating a workforce that is prepared for the future. To encouraging students to be active and informed citizens, public education truly is a foundational building block of our society. As many know, Columbus City Schools is the largest district in Ohio. We serve more than 50,000 students each year through public education in our city. Clearly, the more we do to support and promote the success of Columbus City Schools, both inside and outside the classroom, the more we help our community thrive. It takes the hard work and dedication of teachers, administrators, students, parents, and all of us in government to help ensure our education system is the best it can be. Are there any comments from my colleagues before I move for passage? All right, I move for passage, or adoption, excuse me.
Brown, Remy, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Hardin.
Thank you. Turn the microphone over to you.
Thank you. My name is Jean Melvin, and I'm a veteran educator with 27 years of experience as an elementary classroom teacher, as well as 12 more years as a gifted intervention specialist, where my colleagues and I provided many diverse experiences geared to higher-level learners in Hilliard City School District. I'm a proud graduate of Mount Vernon City Schools, and my 3 daughters are Worthington School District alumni. My granddaughter even attends a preschool program provided through her local public school district, so it's clear that my family and I regard public education very highly. Through my career as a public school teacher, I witnessed firsthand the important role that public education plays in preparing students to be successful adults. Public schools are welcoming places in local communities such as Columbus, where people from all walks of life can send their children to learn together. Schools that teach children not only how to read and write, but also how to work and play together. I truly believe that public schools are what we need to help heal the deep divisions in our state and in our nation. Public school districts need to be publicly accountable and equitably funded, so they have the necessary resources to offer a full and rich curriculum to every student. I believe that public education is a public good, and we must strive to protect and preserve, as well as celebrate, what the delegates to the 1851 Ohio Constitutional Convention intended: a thorough and efficient, high-quality education guaranteed to all children through the public common school system. Thank you, Columbus City Council, for proclaiming this week Public Education Week. We want you to know you're in very good company with this resolution. Public Education Week has been officially recognized throughout Ohio in school districts such as Berea, Dublin, Gahanna, Galion, Hamilton Local, Hilliard City Schools, Reynoldsburg Public Schools, Westerville Public Schools, West Claremont, Woodridge Local, Worthington City Schools, as well as city councils such as you: Dublin City Council, Cincinnati City Council, Lebanon City Council, Mount Healthy City Council, Springboro City Council, Hamilton County Commissioners, Cincinnati Mayor John Cranley, Lorraine Mayor Chase Ridenauer, whose school district is under state takeover right now, and Mount Healthy Mayor James Wolf, and last but not least, Toledo Mayor Wade Krubsukowitz. Republican and Democratic legislators in the Ohio House and Senate have also issued formal proclamations in honor of this special week and the festivities celebrating public education in Ohio. More are scheduled for adoption in the near future. Tomorrow, Public Education Partners will be hosting a State House event from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., appropriately named Celebrate Public Education, and you're all invited. We will honor teachers and students from Ohio's public elementary and high schools, including some groups from Columbus City Schools. And our student guests will share jazz, writing, literature, film and video, and other classroom projects. If you're downtown midday tomorrow, please stop by to see some of the amazing opportunities that public education offers. So thank you again. And
thank you, Jean. What a wonderful moment for our public schools, teachers, parents, and families. I come to you tonight. My name is Maureen Reedy. I thank you, City Council members and President Hardin, for supporting and honoring public education. I'm also a public schools graduate. I went to Eastmore High School and graduated a few years ago. I also have 2 children who are public school graduates, and I'm a founding member of Public Education Partners. I guess you could say, after 36 years of teaching, recently retired, that I'm a lifelong learner teacher, but I am a die-hard advocate for public education. Quite simply, you all in this room, we know it's a simple equation. Public schools that are strong mean strong, vibrant communities and a strong economy, and a chance for our children, some of your children who attend our public schools, to build their future. Sometimes when I'm thinking about our public schools, I put my finger on my pulse and I look for a steady, strong beat. When we do that, we know our blood is going through our system with plenty of oxygen to keep us healthy and strong. Our public schools are the heartbeat of our communities and, quite simply, the foundation of our democracy. Our public schools are gathering places we remember, our spaghetti dinners, our concerts, maybe debates, our football games, our plays, after-school clubs and activities. We all worked hard to learn and succeed, but our public schools should be a second home for our students, a place for them to go to be safe and secure, succeed academically, also emotionally and socially. I've taught long enough, 36 years, to see massive changes over the last 3.5 decades with increased challenges for our children today and our families. With almost 50% of Ohio's children hovering in the poverty range, a rising opioid epidemic, and other childhood traumas, these stressors are literally crippling many of our children. Our public schools, by necessity, are becoming community learning centers with wraparound programs linking the needs of neighborhood families with resources in our schools. Our schools have social workers, medical clinics, food pantries, clothing centers, medical clinics. They also invest in after-school clubs and mentoring programs to keep our children safe at school and socially engaged beyond the school day. Tomorrow, we have an incredible celebration at the State House in the atrium. And Eakin Elementary School is one of our schools from Columbus City Schools that will be there on the west side. Eakin Elementary School is a school with children have recently come to our country from all over the world. There are multiple languages spoken there, and almost all of the children and their families face severe challenges. Principal Teresa Araber, a 30-year Columbus City Schools educator, will be speaking tomorrow. Children, kindergarten students, and third graders will be sharing their projects. Teresa Araber's favorite line is, "To save the children, you have to save the families." Her teaching staff work tirelessly to connect their school together with the surrounding community to provide resources for the children so they can come to school ready to learn and belong in their classroom. With your official proclamation week, Public Education Week this evening, I thank you because this helps to shine the light around Ohio and in our hometown on our need for strong, well-funded public schools 52 weeks out of the school year. We all know, with recent breaking news, we have finite tax dollars. We believe every single dollar, every single cent should go right back into our schools to lift children up each day and provide crucial resources to save families so we can save kids. In closing, our public schools are second homes for our children, just as they were for all of us when we went to school. Their teachers and their families build real relationships in real time, not in FaceTime, in the classroom, not on the computer screen. Strong, well-funded public schools mean healthy, safe, and vibrant communities. Thank you, Columbus City Council, for shining the light and focusing strategically on the dire need for continued community resources for our children. And we hope we see you at the State House tomorrow.
Two quick recognitions. Hannah Hall has been interning for my office for the last 6 weeks. While she was on break, she's from Central Ohio and she's studying political science at Miami University. We are going to miss you, Hannah, and thank you for your hard work over the last 6 weeks. I also want to welcome our guests here from AFSCME Local 1632, local newly elected Angela Williams, President, and newly elected Amy Fry, Vice President. Welcome to Council Chambers tonight. That's all I have.
Member Mitch Brown. Welcome, Councilmember Remy. Any resolutions? All right. Councilmember Page.
Thank you, President Harden. I do have one resolution this evening, and I would like to ask Ms. Roberta Garber to come up to the podium, and if you have any guests with you this evening, they are welcome as well. And I have Resolution 06X-2018 to commemorate the work of Roberta "Bobby" Garber and to congratulate Bobby on her retirement from Columbus Metropolitan Housing Authority. And just a few things about Bobby. She served as the Vice President of Planning and Development during her time at CMHA. And she also worked diligently to assist CMHA with great successes while being instrumental with programs such as the Choice Neighborhood Planning and Implementation Grants that have transformed the Near East Side of Columbus, and assisting with research and data analysis that contributed significantly to CMHA's local, state, and federal public policy achievements. And therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Columbus that this council does hereby congratulate Roberta "Bobby" Garber on her December 30th, 2017 retirement from CMHA, and we wish her much happiness in her retirement years. I move for adoption.
Brown, Brown, Remy, Page, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just quickly, I want to introduce my husband, Bob Fisher, who just retired from Ohio Capital Corporation for Housing. So we've been in the affordable housing business over the last few years. It's been my pleasure to work with the City of Columbus throughout my career, and it is a city that is vibrant and growing and innovative, and the Columbus way is collaboration. And as such, I know that you all recognize the challenges we face with issues of poverty and affordable housing in our community. And so although I've retired from CMHA, I'm still spending some of my time this year continuing to work for the Affordable Housing Alliance of Central Ohio, and looking forward to continuing to talk to the city as a partner in rising to the challenge of meeting our affordable housing gap and making sure that as we grow in Columbus, our community is inclusive and brings all members of the community up together. So thank you again. It's my pleasure to work with you, and I look forward to seeing you this year.
Thank you so much, Bobby. Councilmember Priscilla Tyson.
Thank you. Bobby, before you walk away, I just want to say congratulations on your retirement from CMHA, but certainly just appreciated the partnership that you've had with the city for a long time when you're with the community research partners. And certainly that was very important work as we look to move Columbus forward, and all the research that you did and provided us that information to help us to make the decisions in our city. So I congratulate you on your retirement. Thank you for continuing to work on affordable housing, which is desperately needed in our community. But I wish you well. And to your husband, congratulations on your retirement. Thank you for allowing your wife to be able to help to move our community forward. Congratulations, Bobby.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional comments? Thank you and congratulations. And President Harden, I do have one announcement. I will convene a business regulation and license code public hearing this upcoming Wednesday, January 24th at 5 p.m. The hearing will take place here in City Hall and Council chambers. We will review proposed legislation to regulate certain commercial activity on public property in connection to the 2018 NCAA Women's Final Four. The proposed legislation authorizes a portion of the downtown area to be designated as a clean zone. And at the hearing, we will further explain what a clean zone is and inform the public on the specific boundaries. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Page. President Pro Tem Stenziano. Councilmember Tyson.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Ms. Crystal Lett to walk to the podium, please. And have resolution 0011X-2018, and this is a resolution that is co-sponsored by Councilmember Page, but clearly all council members are signing on this resolution. This resolution is to encourage and implore the United States Congress to immediately pass a fully funded 5-year extension of the Children's Health Insurance Plan, CHIP, whereas the United States Congress created the Children's Health Plan, which CHIP with bipartisan support in 1997 to ensure that children from working-class families who do not qualify for Medicaid but are in the need of assistance still have access to quality health care services that they may need. Whereas the CHIP program ensures that more than 9 million children in the United States of America, including 220,000 children in Ohio, covering pregnant women so that babies have a healthy, strong start at life. And whereas the City of Columbus has invested significantly in improving the birth outcomes for newborns, reducing the infant mortality rate, and addressing health barriers in our community through the Celebrate One initiative. And whereas CHIP is a significant tool of which our community can meet its goal to reduce infant mortality by 40% and cut the racial equity, health disparity equity in half by 2020. Whereas the United States Congress has failed to reauthorize the Children's Health Insurance Program, which expired on September 30th of 2017, and since that time has not fully funded the program. Whereas a new report from Georgetown University Health Policy Institute points out that failure to authorize CHIP in full will strip health care coverage from 1.9 million children in January of 2018 and another 1 million in February of 2018. Whereas January of 2018 will be the last full month in which each state can continue funding CHIP without authorization by Congress. Several states have already sent letters to parents notifying them that their children will lose CHIP coverage in 30 days. And whereas this council believes that families deserve the peace of mind that comes with knowing that their children will have the health care coverage that they may need to continue to grow and to thrive. Therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Columbus that this council does hereby encourage the United States Congress to immediately pass a fully funded 5-year extension of the Children's Health Plan. And I move for adoption.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stinciano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you. And there are about 25,000 children in Franklin County that are in need of CHIP. And so, Ms. Lett, would you want to share your story about your usage of CHIP?
Sure. I'm Crystal Lett. I have a 6-year-old son named Noble. He was born with a very rare genetic disorder called Prader-Willi syndrome. Our family utilized our employer plan for about 3 years until it became unaffordable for us to do so, in which we started utilizing CHIP benefits. For our family, our monthly health insurance premium was $1,000 a month. Our deductible was $10,000, and our out-of-pocket max was $12,000 a year. On top of that, our son requires 3 therapy sessions a week. He does physical, speech, and occupational therapies a week, and our employer plan covered 12 total of all 3 of those each year, which means we would need an additional about 150 a year, which if you add up all of the costs that we would have to pay for that outside of our insurance costs, it's about $90,000 a year. So for our family, CHIP has been the difference between being part of the middle class and living in poverty, and I know that's true for many families that utilize CHIP benefits. So the continuation of the program, or the reauthorization of the program, is vital to middle class families, especially those with children with special needs like ours. So on behalf of myself and all of the CHIP families, I thank you so much for your advocacy and for the resolution, and today has been a great day for CHIP. Thank you.
Councilmember Page, any comments?
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. And I would just like to thank you, Crystal, for coming down and sharing your story. Sometimes, funding can be very abstract for those who do not personalize it and understand what's really happening and how it supports families. So thank you for your advocacy and for sharing on the 25,000 families in Franklin County, the importance of CHIP funding. And thank you, Councilmember Tyson, for introducing and presenting this resolution.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. Are there any comments from our elected officials? City Attorney, City Auditor's Office? I don't see anyone here from the Municipal Court. So at this time, I would request that the following ordinance be removed from the consent action portion of the agenda. Public Service and Transportation Ordinance 0189-2018. Are there any other requests by members of council for removal of ordinance or resolution from the consent action portion of the agenda? Seeing none, may we now have a motion to waive reading of the titles of the 30-day legislation by the clerk, city clerk. Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you. Will the clerk now read into the record the ordinance numbers of 30-day legislation on tonight's agenda for first reading?
Recreation and Parks Committee, Ordinance 92-2018. Economic Development and Small Business Committee, Ordinances 162-218-2018. Housing Committee, Ordinance 166-2018. Public Utilities Committee, Ordinances 3051, 3055, 3188, 3309, 3314-2017, and Ordinances 25, 64, 65, 66, 72, 80, 82, 83, 84, 95, and 140-2018. Zoning Committee, Ordinances 186, 187, 204, 216, 219, and 208-2018.
The following ordinance appear on our agenda as consent actions. Will the clerk now read the ordinance numbers of each into the record?
Resolutions of expression 4X-2018, 9X, 7X, and 8X-2018. Finance Committee, Resolution 1X-2018, Ordinances 49 and 147-2018. Recreation and Parks Committee, Ordinances 3313-2017, 116 and 155-2018. Public Safety Committee, Ordinances 3294-2017 and 119-2018. Public Service and Transportation Committee, Ordinances 3320, 3344-2017, and 8194 and 172-2018. Economic Development and Small Business Committee, Ordinances 105, 106, 107, 109, 207, 217-2018. Housing Committee, Ordinances 197, 198, 199, and 203-2018. Public Utilities Committee, Ordinances 3341-2017 and 111 and 112-2018. Health and Human Services Committee, Ordinance 68-2018. Appointments from the Mayor's Office numbered A0018, A0019, A0020, A0021-2018, and additional appointments A022, A023-2018.
We have one speaker on our consent ordinance 0203-2018, Mr. Nathaniel Wilkins. Mr. Wilkins, welcome back to council. Happy New Year. Guess we were here.
Good evening to all of y'all. I'm glad to be back in the house once again. I'm really against 203 for massive demolition. It's because we are just losing some homes in the area. And again, I would like to know the cost of why it's in dire need of emergency. Again, 1612 Arlington Avenue, Mr. Nathaniel George Wilkins, the chairman of solely vacant property in North Linden area. The only reason why I'm against this, for several reasons, is why beautiful homes are being wiped away and also demolition. You know, maybe we can look at something else, but I need to know why the cost is in a dire emergency. And thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wilkins. Would you follow up, Mrs. Reed, Hannah Reed? May I have a motion for approval of these items designated as consent actions? A second. Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Consent agenda items are passed. We will now proceed with the second reading of 30-day tabled emergency legislation. The first committee we have is the Finance Committee, chaired by Councilmember Elizabeth Brown. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Harden. In Finance tonight, we have Ordinance 0192-2018 to appropriate and authorize the City Auditor to transfer $9,115,907.63 from the Special Income Tax Fund to the Franklin County Convention Facilities Authority Fund for the purpose of providing secondary funding in the event that the Franklin County Convention Facilities Authority cannot meet its debt obligations, to appropriate and expend up to $7,047,187.50 within the Special Income Tax Fund for reimbursement to the River South Authority to make lease payments, to appropriate and expend up to $1,846,250 to the River South Authority to make lease payments, and to declare an emergency. The payments authorized by this ordinance are in accordance with lease agreements the City of Columbus is currently entered into with the Franklin County Convention Facilities Authority and the River South Authority. It is important to note that the $9.1 million transfer of funds to the Franklin County Convention Facilities Authority will only occur in the event that they are unable to meet their debt obligations as outlined in the lease. No payments have been needed since 1990 and are not anticipated to be needed. The $7 million payment to the River South Authority covers bond service charges for bonds issued for redevelopment projects, such as the rehabilitation of the former downtown Lazarus department store. The city has entered into a series of agreements with the River South Authority between 2004 and 2014, which obligate the city to make these payments. The final appropriation of $1.8 million covers bond service charge payments for the bonds issued to construct the underground parking garage and park located at COSI. The city entered into a master lease agreement and supplemental lease agreement for this project in 2016. Through these partnerships and investments in redevelopment projects, the city aims to positively impact the local economy through the revitalization of neighborhoods and creation of jobs. Emergency action is being considered so that the payments are not delayed. Are there any questions from my colleagues before I move for passage? I move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stinziano, Tyson, President Harden.
May I move to Recreation and Parks? In Recreation and Parks, we have Ordinance 0117-2018 to authorize the city attorney to spend grant funds and voted bond funds to acquire in good faith certain fee simple title and lesser real property interests, and contract for associated professional services in order for the Recreation and Parks Department to timely complete the Eastmore Green Line public project, and to declare an emergency. The Eastmore Green Line public project will establish a greenway corridor running between Broad Street and Livingston Avenue in the Eastmore and Linden communities along an abandoned rail line. This ordinance authorizes the acquisition of property along the rail line that the city needs to complete the project. Recreation and Parks obtained a grant from the Ohio Public Works Commission for the purpose of acquiring the needed property, with additional money being provided through voted bond funds. Emergency action is being considered so that completion of the project is not delayed. Before I move for passage, Director Collins, is there anything you want to add? This is a great project, and I appreciate your work on it.
Thank you, Chair Brown, President Harden, members of council. We're excited about this project to help meet our needs of parkland access in an important neighborhood. We're also always focused on connectivity through our trails, our trail corridor. As you know, we have 120 miles of connected trail in the Central Ohio region and Columbus specifically. And this is going to add to that, provide us with a needed greenway corridor and we know will be a well-used trail corridor in these neighborhoods. And we're also very excited that we've been able to leverage our capital dollars with a grant from the state of Ohio in the amount of $751,000 to make the project happen. So great, it's a good project. We're excited to get moving on it.
Thank you, Director Collins. Any questions from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stinziano, Tyson, President Harden.
And lastly, may I move to education? In education, we have Ordinance 0251-2018 to authorize the Director of Development to enter into a grant agreement with Greater Columbus Sister Cities International in support of the Sister City Youth Ambassador Program, to authorize an appropriation and expenditure of $10,000 within the Neighborhood Initiative Subfund, and to declare an emergency. And as co-sponsor of the ordinance, I'm going to actually turn it over to you, President Hardin, to speak more about this ordinance.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. At this point, I'd like to call to the podium Mr. Ani Malimu and Tim Sword with the Greater Columbus Sister Cities. This legislation awards 4 Columbus High School students the Accra Sister City Youth Ambassador Scholarship Program, partially subsidizing their participation in 2 programs, the Accra Sister City Sankofa Sojourn and the Sister City Youth Ambassador Training Program. The Sankofa Sojourn is an 18-month leadership development program culminating in a 2-week study abroad trip to Ghana, highlighting the Accra Sister City relationship. After the trip, the students will engage in a 6-month speaking tour organized by the Pan-African Connections. The Sister City Youth Ambassador Training Program is a 12-month youth civic engagement program focused on public speaking, political education, and international relations. This is jointly organized by PAC and the Greater Columbus Sister Cities International. I'm certainly excited about this program. As we have sister cities, we want to make sure that these relationships are made stronger, and I think this is a really exciting way to connect young people from our city with young people in Accra, and really excited about this partnership and how we are using this first scholarship to develop a program for all of our sister cities. And so with that, I will turn it over to Ani.
Greetings, Council President Hardin, President Pro Tem Stenziano, and members of the Council. Let me start by congratulating Council President Hardin on your recent presidency, as well as Councilmember Remy. Congratulations on your appointment. Allow me to also acknowledge with whom I've come today. I'd like to acknowledge the Board of Directors of Pan-African Connections, the Development Committee of PAC, our partner, the Graham High School, our chaperones, Gian Solomon, and most outstandingly, Naki Akrabeto, as well as some of our young scholars who might be the recipients of this scholarship: Christiana Jones, Jonathan Stinson, Alexis, and Albert Matthews IV, who will speak here momentarily. My name is Ani Mwalimu, and congratulations on the pronunciation. I'm sure that took quite some practice, so I appreciate the intentionality behind that. I'm an Eastside native. I'm the product mostly of Columbus, then public schools, with the exception of my last 2 years in high school. I'm a veteran educator, high school educator, and I'm the founding director of Pan-African Connections. Our mission at PAC is to develop the critical consciousness, capacity, and community, primarily of youth and families of African descent. Our flagship program, which was spoken of earlier, which has 3 cities and is 7 years running, is called the Sankofa Sojourn. It's an 18-month Afrocentric youth leadership development program, which culminates in a 2-week study abroad program to Ghana, West Africa. Additionally, our goal is to be a bridge, is to be a conduit to many of the African descending communities right here in Central Ohio, to be a unifying conduit so that we can address, particularly the youth, some of the challenges that exist in our communities. We do that obviously through education and empowerment, of which the study abroad program to Ghana is part of. With more than 50 community members served, we've taken about 35 first-time passport holders abroad, both to Ghana, West Africa, as well as to Barbados in the Caribbean. We look forward to expanding our partnerships and capacity so that every Columbus City high school student has a passport and also access to a study abroad program. I cede the remaining time to one of our potential beneficiaries of this legislation. His name is Albert Matthews IV.
Greetings, Council President Hardin and President Pro Tem Stenziano, and members of the Council. I am also here to congratulate all those who were recently elected and appointed to the Council. My name is Albert Matthews IV. I am a 9th grader at the Graham High School, and I am proud to be one of the 10 local youth selected to participate in the Pan-African Connections Sankofa Sojourn. I have raised 1,000 of my 2,000 goal, taken classes to prepare me for Ghana, and I've already served me as a representative of PAC at the Central Ohio African American Chamber of Commerce. I want to go to Ghana because I want to connect with my roots so I can know what I was before I was black. I want to experience that, then come back to the U.S. and pass it on. In the U.S., you are not defined by who you are before you were here, but how people see you. For example, Naki, our chaperone, her father is the king in Ghana. He is honored with all these titles, but in America, he is stripped of all that. You could be Italian with all kinds of great culture, but here you are just white. You have no depth in your identity or history. You just become white here as we just became black. We are so much greater than that. I also am applying to become a Columbus City Youth Ambassador to Accra with Columbus Sister City International. Many young folk where I am from are told that we represent anything but negativity. But I know what I am, and I know I'm worthy of representing my city on the international stage. I am excited about the opportunity, and I appreciate the city potentially recognizing me and seeing me and sending the message to the youth that we are worthy of being in this building, to have a passport in our hands, and to travel to a land that we didn't choose to leave. We look forward to returning to this very room and sharing how we've transformed as a result of our trip and what we plan to do in order to provide this opportunity to many more deserving youth of our great city. Thank you for your time in considering this investment to Senko for Sojourn.
Well, thank you. So you said that you raised $1,000 of the $2,000 needed to go on the trip. How did you do that fundraising? What were the?
We started with a GoFundMe page, and just we made notes, like we had notes that we were distributing to family members, friends, or just local people who wanted to, contribute in any way. So, yeah.
Well, congratulations, and thank you. I look forward to you representing our city on this international trip. With that, I'll ask Mr. Tim Sawyer to speak more about the new partnership and scholarship.
Sure. On behalf of the Board of Directors and our global partners who are individual and corporate sponsors, I want to thank Council for continuing to support the good work of Greater Columbus Sister Cities. This exchange and this program investment is a direct result of the trip that we took in November of 2016 led by Mayor Ginther to Accra, Ghana, which is our newest sister city and the only one in Africa. When we engage with people, whether it's business, government, youth, universities, there's a lot of interest. There's interest in knowing about the United States. There's discovery about Columbus, not knowing that we even exist. And it makes me recall a time when I went with Franklin County Commissioner Marilyn Brown to Curitiba and São Paulo, and we were with 100 business men in Brazil, men and women, who were looking to invest. But they never even heard of Columbus, and they heard our Columbus 2020 pitch, and were just very impressed. Obviously, they've been going through some challenges and having difficulty growing and investing in their own country, so this was an opportunity for us to attract and draw attention to Columbus. But this, again, is a direct result of that trip that we took, and I appreciate that you're willing to invest in it, similar to Councilmember Priscilla Tyson's trip with us to Genoa, Italy, which has spawned the Pesto Championship, which we have now our first Columbus winner, who will be going in March to Genoa, Italy to compete in the World Championship. We also have a photographer doing 1,000 Faces of Genoa coming here at the end of March and the beginning of April, and we're working on finalizing the details for a national treasure of Italy, which is the Paganini violin, which we had the opportunity to see. And honestly, this is an investment that our community needs to make in order to make these linkages. But it also, this specific investment, is going to allow us to go to the corporate community and say, hey, we also need some additional contributions towards this Youth Ambassador program, because we also belong to Sister Cities International, a national organization that has an annual youth conference. And this year it'll be in Denver, Colorado. And we have worked together to identify how we can send 2 of the students with a chaperone with some of these funds to offset that trip. So I think it's important to continue that. The dream, obviously, is to send youth to all 10 of our sister cities and even receive them. But when you think about what makes a good ambassador, it's someone that's open-minded, curious, and is looking to make connections. And what you just heard from this previous student is exactly that, wanting to understand heritage, connection, and then to come back and communicate that. There couldn't be a better kind of representative. So thank you for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Sawyer. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage. Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Elizabeth Brown. Councilmember Ms. Brown, Public Safety.
Thank you, President Harden. Tonight in safety, we have ordinance number 0120-20118 to authorize the Director of the Department of Public Safety to modify a personal service contract for the administration of all activities of the Teens and Police Services, better known as TAPS Academy, a mentorship program run by the Columbus Division of Police, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the City Code Chapter 329, to authorize the transfer of funds within and expenditures of $10,400 from the General Government Fund, and to declare an emergency. This evening we have Assistant Director Pishotti. Would you please provide a brief overview of the TAPS Academy and share the benefits of the program with my colleagues and the public, please?
Councilmember Brown, Council President Hart, members of council. The TAPS program is a partnership with the Franklin County Juvenile Court designed for at-risk youth to build positive interpersonal relationships between students and police officers. Students are partnered with Columbus Police Officer Mentor over an 11-week period to develop life skills and to discuss issues such as bullying, anger management, and avoidance of gangs. The program has been really successful. In fact, we have 2 graduations this week. One is at the Hiltonia Middle School on West Mound Street. The second is at Johnson Park Middle School. Additionally, the TAPS program will be implemented for the second half of the school year at Wedgewood Middle School and a second middle school to be determined. Thank you.
This legislation is being co-sponsored with Mr. Michael Stenziano, so I thank you. If there are no further comments from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Clerk, call the row.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
And that's all we have in public safety, President.
Stenziano, Chair, President Pro Tem Stenziano. Did I skip somebody?
We went over service, but I'm always happy to not be last.
Our newest member. The next committee is Public Service and Transportation, which Councilmember Remy chairs.
Thank you, President
The
Harden.
floor is yours.
Thank you, President Harden. Tonight in Public Service and Transportation Committee, we have ordinance number 3315, 2017, to accept the plat titled Poindexter Village, Section 2 from Columbus Metropolitan Housing Authority to vacate right-of-way related to the plat acceptance and to declare an emergency. This was tabled on 1/8 of 2018. I move to take it from the table.
Ms. Brown? Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Page? Remy?
Yes.
Stenziano? Tyson?
Abstain.
President Harden.
All right, if there are no questions, are there any comments from my colleagues on this? If there are no questions, I move for passage.
Ms. Brown? Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Page? Remy?
Yes.
Stenziano? Tyson?
Abstain.
President Harden.
Now we need to go back to the consent agenda on page 10. This was removed from the consent agenda, ordinance number 0189, 2018, to amend the 2017 capital improvement budget to appropriate funds within the Street and Highway Improvements Fund, to authorize the transfer of funds and appropriation within the Street and Highway Improvements Fund, to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into a professional services contract with Rama Consulting for the roadway improvements, Short North Parking Strategic Facilitation Project, to authorize the expenditure of up to $200,000 from the Street and Highway Improvements Fund to pay for this contract and to declare emergency. I'd like to ask Deputy Director Robert Farron, the Department of Public Service and Transportation, to come forward to speak on this legislation, please.
Good evening, Chair Remy, President Harden, members of council. Thank you for having me this evening. I'd like to give you a brief update of where we are with the Short North Parking Plan and how this legislation can move us forward in implementing the Short North Plan. I started the second week in November. I'm brand new to Columbus, and since I've started, have been diving into all of the work that's been done by the city and stakeholders over numerous years. Many people in Short North have been on a journey for a number of years trying to quote-unquote fix the parking problem in Short North. Quite a few studies have been done. Certainly quite a bit of outreach has been done. Since I've gotten here, I've met with all or most of the working group members in the Short North, had 14 one-on-one conversations, frank conversations on where we've been, where we are today and where we're headed. What I've come away with from that is that the city needs to, one, go back out and do a little more outreach in terms of getting the broadest diversity of stakeholder outreach possible. As we look at the different user groups in the Short North, we have a lot of user groups, and that's why people are so passionate, and certainly there's been so much discussion about this, whether it's residents, employees, businesses, visitors, et cetera, et cetera. In these conversations and also in reviewing all this documentation, there are two main points that we hope RAMA will help us in terms of getting to the finish line. We want to have an aggressive stakeholder outreach process. Since July, there has been a bit of radio silence from the city in terms of how things will move forward. In those 6 months, I think what most people have realized is that something needs to be done. Status quo is certainly not where we want to be. Along with that, we want to have a plan that's simple, consistent, and equitable. And I think when you look back at the outreach from July and previous, there were a lot of discussions about how we prioritize different user groups, and a lot of things were vague. Some things were, people didn't understand what the full benefit of the plan would be. And because of that, we want to go back out to all these business groups, residents, visitors, with the help of RAMA, and make sure that people are educated about the plan. We're also looking at changing some of the plan principles. Again, we want to simplify things. We want to make sure things are consistent. And because of that, we want to make sure we get certainly as much feedback as we can. So one is certainly that aggressive stakeholder outreach process. We're looking at a February to May outreach process, and then have the whole plan implemented, certainly by the end of the year, hopefully by November, excuse me. Because we're changing some of those plan recommendations, we want to make sure we have a lot of boots on the ground. We want to make sure that we're getting, again, all that feedback. So again, that's why we're hoping that, that RAMA can help us in that journey. Again, points here is we definitely need to look at the plan, revise it, and simplify it for all user groups so that it's consistent, it's customer focused, and customer friendly. And again, because of that, we want to engage RAMA Consulting in that effort. So happy to answer any other questions. I apologize I went pretty quickly on that. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak about this.
Thank you, Deputy Director. Any questions from my colleagues?
Thank you, Councilmember Remy. So I want to be really clear about what's going to happen. So you mentioned that, so the plan that we had previously, you are looking at changing that plan before you go out and have these conversations, or are we going out, is RAMA going to go out and have the conversations just in general about what, the parking, needs and concerns in the Short North, and then you're going to come back? I'm just trying to understand the sequence.
Sure. We are going to use the existing plan as a foundation. There are several elements of the plan that, through my one-on-one conversations and my research, we are going to adjust and then present to working group and focus group members and provide a number of options for individuals to quote-unquote vote on. And then we'll go out to a series of public meetings to make sure that that sticks with, again, a broad audience, and then move to implement that plan. So right now we have a base plan that, in my conversations, there are elements of that plan that people really loved, and some that people are like, not so much. So we've gone back as staff and looked at the existing plan, adjusted a couple of those points to then get feedback from the working group and focus group members. The existing plan itself is a great platform. However, we have and we will go back and revise some of those key points and make sure that, again, the working group and focus group understands that and then provides feedback to those points.
Will you also just make sure that you keep us, communicate with us along the way so that we're knowledgeable as to, where we are in this process, so that when we're out in the community, we can be able to speak to this plan with some sense of knowledge about where the department is on this new plan?
Absolutely.
Or revised plan.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Councilmember Page.
Thank you, Councilmember Remy. Could you talk briefly, and you've kind of gone over it, but what are some of the key differences that you'll see with the work that RAMA will do versus the other consulting company that did the study, as far as like interaction with the community?
Sure. We are hoping to get as much diverse feedback as possible. So whether it's focus groups, working groups, putting surveys in restaurants, so that when people are waiting for a table, they are starting to talk about their parking experience. Getting as much feedback from as diverse a group of individuals via web, Facebook, surveys, in-person meetings, but also educating the public on what this plan means. I think, again, the original effort was great. However, we need to educate the public on what do these plan principles mean. So once we go through those working group and focus groups, what do all these plan elements mean to you on a daily basis? The reason why people are so passionate about parking is because you do it every day. Whether you think you do or not, you do that. And we need to make sure everyone understands and is educated about what the plan will mean day one to them, whether you're a resident, an employer, a business, and between both myself and staff as well as RAMA, we hope to communicate that out to the public.
Councilmember Brown.
I think I'd also like to reiterate what Councilmember Priscilla Tyson has already discussed, is that you come back to this council and let us know exactly what the changes are going to be to this plan. If you're talking about implementation sometime the latter part of this year, we want to know about it before you actually go forward that issue. This is a very, very sensitive, very passionate issue, and we expect to be educated as thoroughly as we possibly can be before we move forward.
Absolutely agreed. Thank you.
Council President Harden.
Well, thank you again. I think my colleagues are correct. As we know, we've worked on this issue for a year or so now. A lot of folks have been out in the community, had a lot of conversations. The reason we ask for greater engagement with really all the council members is because we get the front line interaction on the daily about this issue, and you use the word passion. People are very passionate about parking. Because of your background and your expertise in this space, you understand the energy that goes into this. I look forward to the further briefings and working with Chair Remy and all of our colleagues, because I think you are correct, though, that inaction is not really what we need to have right now, and I look forward to thorough consideration in the work that you'll do over the next several months with the community. So thank you.
If there are no other questions, I move for passage and request a voice vote.
Ms. Brown? Yes. Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Page? Yes. Remy?
Yes.
Stinziano? Tyson?
I'm going to vote yes on this because I do appreciate the work from RAMA. But I absolutely, based upon what this body went through previously, I want to just make sure that, as I said earlier, that there would be good communication with this body. This is a tough issue, and I'm glad that, I know your background. This is a really tough issue within this area of Columbus, and hopefully there can be a win-win for everybody. But because I know their work, and I'm hopeful that their work will give you enough information that we will not be at the place we were previously. So I will vote yes because I know the company, and I expect that between you, RAMA, Councilmember Remy, and the administration, the rest of the administration, that we will not be in the same place we were before.
President Harden.
Am I allowed to add something at this point? Sorry, I just want to echo what you said and just really think that the answer is not to walk away from this process, but to engage. So, thank you for bringing this forward as a way to further engage. What I hear from people, small businesses, residents, is that further engagement is better, not walking away. So,
President Harden.
That is all I have tonight in Public Service and Transportation Committee. President Harden.
is the Public Utilities Committee. Councilmember Cinziano chairs that committee.
Thank you, President Harden. I do want to appreciate your enthusiasm for public utilities earlier. We're always excited when we get to the utilities part of the agenda. Tonight, bring forward Ordinance 0096-2018 to authorize the Director of Finance and Management to associate all general budget reservations resulting from this ordinance for heating oil from an established state of Ohio cooperative purchase contract with High Towers Petroleum Company for the Division of Sewerage and Drainage to authorize the expenditure of $45,000 from the Sewerage Operating Fund and to declare an emergency. The Division of Sewerage and Drainage Suddenly Wastewater Treatment Plant requires heating oil for boilers that heat the building throughout the facilities. This ordinance is contingent on the passage of the 2018 operating budget, Ordinance 3009-2017. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, first I'd like to amend the legislation, the 30-day legislation.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
And now move for passage.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Next, Ordinance 3270-2017 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to modify and increase an existing contract for the 2017-2019 Construction Administration Inspection Services Agreement with CTL Engineering Incorporated for the Division of Sewerage and Drainage and the Division of Water for the Terrence Broad Stormwater System Improvements and Eureka Steel Water Line Improvements Project, to authorize a transfer and expenditure of $203,987 within the Water Go Bond Fund, and to authorize an expenditure up to $959,563.45 within the Stormwater Bond Fund, and to amend the 2017 capital improvements budget. This project will be installing a 100-year design storm sewer to alleviate flooding along West Broad Street near the intersection with Terrence Avenue. It will also be fully reconstructing North Eureka Avenue from Glenview to West Broad, as well as replacing water mains along Eureka and Steel Avenues. Both of these projects, as we know, are in the Hilltop. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
And last ordinance, 3291-2017, to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter into a construction contract with Kenmore Construction for the Williams Road, Castle Road Sanitary Pump Station Control Valve Upgrade Project, to authorize the appropriation and transfer of $1,731,600 from the Sanitary Sewer Reserve Fund to the Ohio Water Development Loan Fund, to authorize the expenditure of $1,731,600 from the Ohio Water Development Loan Fund, and to amend the 2017 capital improvements budget to provide sufficient authority. This project will replace and remove aging check valves and equipment that will help mitigate sewage leaks. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
That's all we have this evening in public utilities.
The next committee is Health and Human Services. Councilmember Tyson chairs this committee.
Excuse me, thank you. I have ordinance number 3199-2017 to authorize and direct the Board of Health to enter into various contracts for the ODH HIV Care Part A Supplemental Grant Program, to authorize expenditure of $300,000 from the Health Department's Grants Fund, and to declare an emergency. The contracts for this legislation will be one for Southeast Inc. for $119,250, Equitas Health for $121,506, AIDS Healthcare Foundation for $31,532, and the Research Institute at Nationwide Children's Hospital for $27,712. This legislation will work with about 2,400 unduplicated clients, providing them with a variety of services from outpatient ambulatory medical care to mental health services, medical case management, early intervention services. If there are no questions or comments, I first would like to move for pass. First, I want to take it, I think it was just take it from the table, which was tabled on 1/8 of 2018. So I want to take it from the table by voice vote.
Ms. Brown? Mr. Brown? Ms. Brown? Mr. Brown? Page? Remy? Stenziano? Tyson,
Yes.
President Harden.
Thank you. Now to move for passage by voice vote.
Ms. Brown? Mr. Brown? Page? Remy? Stenziano? Tyson?
Yes.
President Harden.
Thank you. The next ordinance is 0029-2018 to authorize the Board of Health to enter into a contract with NetSmart Technologies, Inc. to provide database extraction services to transition to next-gen clinical application, a system already utilized in 5 clinical programs, to authorize expenditure of $21,000 from the Health Department's grant fund, and to waive competitive bidding provisions of Columbus City Code, and to declare an emergency. Dr. Roberts, can you please share why we are waiving competitive bidding for this ordinance?
Yes, good evening, and thank you, Councilmember Tyson, President Harden. This is a contract we have with NextGen, and this is the sole vendor that does this. This is necessary for our clinical records that we do for all of our clinical programs at the Health Department, and because they are the only program that can do this, or the only company that can do this, that's why we've waived competitive bidding. Plus, we need to get this on track as soon as possible to make sure we have continuation of services for our clients at the Health Department.
Thank you. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you. That's all I have in my committee this evening.
In Rules and Reference Committee this evening, I have 2 appointments that I'll read from the floor. First, A0026-2018, appointments of Diana Hawkins Guyvon, 641 Briggs Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43206, to serve on the Citizens Commission on Elected Official Compensation with a term commencing January 22nd-2018. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage. Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
And second, I have A0027-2018, appointment of Kiana Williams, 6114 Jadkins Way, Columbus, Ohio, 43081, to serve on the Citizens Commission on Elected Officials Compensation with a term commencing January 22nd, 2018. If there are no questions or comments, I move for passage. Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you. If you would like to recess for, may I have a motion to recess this meeting? Oh, adjourn. We're done with the meeting. I moved to ask for a motion to adjourn, please. Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
This meeting is adjourned. And we will reconvene this meeting at 6:30 for zoning.
Do you want to take non-agenda speakers now?
Regular meeting number 4 will now come to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
We will now go to the Zoning Committee. Councilmember Tyson chairs this committee. All members serve on the committee. Councilmember Tyson.
Thank you. We have ordinance number 0050-2018 to rezone 1023 North 6th Street, being .22 plus or minus acres located on the west side of North 6th Street, 132 feet north of East 3rd Avenue from M2 Manufacturing District to R4 Residential District. The applicant is Jennifer McGann. The proposed use is a single-unit dwelling. The City Department's recommendation is approval. Italian Village Commission recommendation is approval. If there are no questions or comments from my council members, I first move to waive second reading.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you. And now I move for passage.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you. The next ordinance is 0051-2018 to grant a variance from the provisions of sections 3321.05B1 vision clearance, 3332.18 basis for computing area, 3332.21 building lines, 3332.25 maximum side yards required, 3332.26 minimum side yard permitted, and 3332.27 rear yard of the Columbus City Code for the property located at 1023 North 6th Street to permit a single unit dwelling with reduced development standards in an R4 residential district, to repeal the ordinance number 1344-2014 and ordinance 1419-2015. The applicant, again, is Jennifer McGann. The proposed use is single-unit dwelling. The City Department's recommendation is approval, and the Italian Village Commission's recommendation is approval. If there are no questions or comments, I move to waive second reading.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you, and now I move for passage.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you. And the last ordinance is 2568-2017 to grant a variance from the provisions of sections 3332.037 R2F residential district, 3312.21 D1 landscaping and screening, 3312.25 maneuvering, 3312.49 minimum numbers of parking spaces required, 3321.01 dumpster area, 3321.05 B1 vision clearance, 3321.09B landscaping, 3332.05 A4 area district lot with requirements, 3332.14 R2F area district requirements, 33.32.25 C1 maximum side yards required, 3332.26 minimum side yard permitted, 3332.28 side or rear yard obstruction, 3372.605 D building design standards, and 3372.607D landscaping and screening of the Columbus City Code for the property located at 1020 and 1022 East Long Street to permit a mixed-use building with reduced development standards in the R2F residential district. The applicant is FGW Investment Properties, LLC. The proposed use is a mixed-use building. The City Department's recommendation is approval, and the Near East Area Commission's recommendation is approval. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I first move to waive second reading.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you, and now I move for passage.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you. That's all I have in the zoning committee this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. Seeing no more business, can I get a motion to adjourn? Clerk, call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Regular meeting number 4 is adjourned. The first speaker.